What is going on, you guys? It is Outdoor Maniac here again with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how to fix squeaky brakes on your mini bike or go-kart. In today's video, I'm going to be focusing on drum brakes. Drum brakes are known to be very squeaky, and in this video, I'm going to show you a simple and easy way to get them to stop squeaking. So let's get started. Before we get started, you're going to need a 10, 14, 17, and 19 millimeter wrench, as well as a scuffing pad, pliers, and an optional 10 millimeter socket attached to a electric ratchet or an impact gun. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to take off the brake cable from the lever of the brake assembly. So you're going to take your 14 millimeter wrench and unscrew that. And once you get the hinges off, you can undo the hand. Okay, so now we have our nut for the brake cable. Make sure to save that, don't lose it. Now we can take the screw out, as well as this little attachment, and save this as well, don't lose it. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and head over to the other side and take the tension off of the chain. So right here is the chain tensioner screw with a nut. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this nut off so that it loosens up the chain so that I can take the chain off. So I'm going to take a 10 millimeter socket or wrench and unscrew the nut. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take a 19 millimeter wrench and a 17 millimeter wrench, and you're going to unscrew the nut that holds the wheel axle together. And always remember, righty tighty, lefty loosey. So I'm going to turn it left, which loosens up the bolt. And now that I unscrewed the chain tensioner, I can move this wheel back and forth, like so. So next I'm gonna move it forward so that the chain has slack. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn the wheel until I find the master link for the chain. So here's the master link for the chain. I'm gonna take my pair of pliers. I'm going to put it on one piece of the chain. I'm going to put the other on the link itself. And I'm going to squeeze. Like so. So now I have the master clip, I guess you could say. So now I'm going to take this other piece off. And then finally the master link itself. So now this chain's free to come off. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish untightening the nut. So now that that's done, this wheel axle can come out. So first I'm going to take this chain tensioner bolt out, or screw, bolt, whatever you want to call it. And now there's nothing else hanging right here. So now I can just push that out. Make sure that you have something supporting the wheel. I have my foot supporting the wheel. And the first thing that's going to come off from the backside is a washer. Keep that washer. Make sure that you keep them in order. The next thing is a spacer. So I'm going to put that to the right of the washer, just so I keep track of the order of which everything came off. So I'm going to move you guys to the other side so we can go work on the other side. So I'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm on the other side. Again, we're going to support the wheel and tire, and we're going to continue to pull this bolt out. So there is a washer that goes on the inside of the frame, and now I have access to just drop the wheel right out of where it goes. This is just going to be loose, so you can take the whole drum assembly off, and then you have access to your brake shoes and your return springs. And finally the drum, which is the main thing we're going to be focusing on today. So I'm going to go sit this up on the bench, and I'll get back to you. Okay, so I'm going to take a scuffing pad, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrub the inside of the drum so that it scuffs up the part where the brake shoes come in contact with the actual drum. It's kind of like a resurfacing thing. It resurfaces that area and provides a better grip. So I'm going to do this a couple times. Make sure to get all that other brake dust off. Okay, so that's pretty good. Cleaned off all of the residue that was in there. I've created a nice new surface. I'm gonna spray it with brake clean to get all my hand oils off of it and any other debris. And then I'm gonna move over to the actual assembly with the brake shoes and linings, and we're gonna clean up the shine on the actual linings of the brake shoes. Okay, so I got some brake clean, or aka brake parts cleaner. I'm gonna just give the drum a little spray. It's just fine. And now I'm going to take a towel and set it in there so it absorbs the brake cleaner. Gonna go ahead and give it a wipe down. Gonna make sure that there's no other good debris in there. Okay, it's good. Okay, now I'm gonna set this part aside and I'm gonna focus on the actual assembly right here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna lightly take the shine off with the same abrasive pad. Okay, that's perfect. Don't take too much off of it. Now we're going to go to the other side and do the same exact thing. Okay, so now that the shine is off of both brake linings, we're going to reinstall the tire and brake assembly. Okay, I'm back at the wheel, and now I'm going to lift the wheel and tire up so I can attach it to the frame again. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your brake assembly and you're going to want to stick it where it was when it came off, so right about there. It doesn't matter if it's all the way up here or if it's all the way down here. What matters is you get it in there properly. It's going to be a little loose and shaky, but that's okay. So I'm going to take my axle bolt right here, and I'm going to make sure that it has the other side of the chain tensioner on it. This one broke, so it's not there anymore. So I'm going to stick that in there. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this spacer and I'm going to put it right on the other side of the bolt. And then I'm going to lift the tire up, making sure that spacer stays on there correctly. And then I'm going to feed the axle bolt through the wheel, like so. Okay, so I moved you guys on to the other side where the chain goes, and I'm going to take my other spacer and I push the bolt through just a little bit so it pops out the other side. And then I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to feel until it gets through the spacer. Then I'm going to take this washer and put it right there, and then I'm going to lift the whole wheel up like so and push the remaining amount of the bolt through. So it should look like this. And now your tire's on there, and now all you have to do is you have to put on your chain tensioner like so. Make sure the washers are on the outside right here, and you're going to take your nut and you're going to screw the nut back onto the bolt until it's snug. And then I can come in and finish with my 17 and 19 millimeter wrenches, just so that it make sure that it can still slide, because we still have to check and adjust the tension of the chain once we get the chain back on there. So don't tighten it down all the way, just make sure it's snug so that the bolt won't fall off, or get it nice and snug so that the nut won't fall off when you're trying to move it to adjust the tension of the chain. Okay, so I put the master link back in the chain. Now the chain is super loose, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 10mm wrench or socket. I'm going to tighten it until there's about a 1/4 inch of movement in the chain up or down and side to side. It's a little too tight. Gonna untighten the bolt. So I got a 1/4 inch up and down, a 1/4 inch side to side. I have about a 1/4 inch of twist. So this chain is properly tightened. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish up tightening my axle bolt. And make sure it's on there nice and snug, like so. And now you have a fully operating wheel without squeaking brakes. Thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial on how to fix squeaky drum brakes. Make sure you like and subscribe. We're almost at 300 subs. Let's get us there by the end of June. Again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.